All right. What is going on, everyone? Happy New Year. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you had a great, I think it's been since before the New Year. It's just like kind of after Christmas. Or no, it's been after Christmas, but before the New Year. Yeah, since we've last chatted. So, Happy New Year. All the best to you in 2025. I am super pumped. I'm super excited with what's going on and what's going to be happening here over the new year. As you can see from the title, there's a couple things to talk about today. And the first thing, of course, is just updating you on the podcast, on the new Unconventional podcast that is going to be happening hopefully soon here. Kevin, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Why is the chat not on? Oh, it wasn't turned on. Maybe it's turned on now. So now it should be working. Let me give a quick. Okay, here. Yeah, I got it going on here. Look at that. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we got to update you guys on the new podcast that's starting up. And of course, what would you do as a business if you had an extra $250,000, $250,000? So it's something that I've been thinking a lot about over the past few weeks here. And I think it's time to let you guys know what it is that I've been thinking about. And yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. So it's pretty exciting. And obviously lots can be done with that amount of influx of cash. But of course, you have to be very careful on what you're going to do with that cash to make sure that, it's not just free money, right? It's money that does need to get paid back eventually. Kevin, I don't know when it was, but I caught your live stream and you guys were having a whole lot of like tech issues. And I guess is that the same kind of issues that you guys were having that you were asking me about? It must have been a couple weeks ago. I can't remember exactly when it was now. But yeah, it was just kind of funny to say, oh no, it was funny. Cause you guys were just, you guys were just trying to figure out how it's going. People were, they're coming on and off saying like, I can't hear you and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny. Well, I mean, not funny in that sense, but I didn't stay on, unfortunately, to see like if you guys got everything kind of figured out or whatever. But I was I was there cheering you guys on in the background. So you open a ticket with EV Mux to find out why. Makes you want to move to OBS, but I don't know that. But ... is going to be with the technical. I mean, there's always going to be technical issues for sure, no matter what software you're using. It's just a question of, I guess, I guess it's just how much effort and work you're gonna do to put in to try to get something new to work. That sort of scenario where you suddenly need 9 guests, how easy is to make that work on OBS? So have you looked into StreamYard? Because I think StreamYard is a more user-friendly like fork of OBS. I'm pretty sure OBS is open source, but Streamlab, you have to pay for it, but it's skinned off of OBS. And I do believe they have that kind of stuff kind of built in, which is probably why you have to pay for it. So the reason I mention that is because I don't know what it's like to have guests and to make it work on OBS. Because when you were on here on this live stream, it's basically just having a Zoom call and then just porting that into the OBS as an actual like a video capture. So that's like for one person, but when you're having multiple guests and you want them in and out, I don't know how to set OBS for that. Okay, we use StreamYard, but there was very little flexibility in design. Yeah, for sure. You're definitely going to be inflexible with that. And EV Mux, it's also skin of OBS. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So then obviously there's a way to get it done. It's just, I don't know how. But obviously if these guys are doing it, it's possible. I wonder if there's other plugins that could make it easy to do. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, because I don't know. Yeah. I do have a question. If this might help me understand it a little bit more, is when people are calling in, where exactly are you sending them in order to come on to the show? Like, is it something within the software that you give them a link to then be able to log into that from? Or are you using something that's like a third party and then you're bringing that into the EV software? So yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure there's a way. They get a link to join. They join as a guest role and then select their video and audio sources. I mean, could it be just user error. I mean, it could just be a thing, you know, like, I mean, so many times, I just remember just at my job and doing tech support for a lot of people. I mean, it wasn't really our role, but we ended up defaulting tech supporting a bunch of people, trying to figure out how to do video calls and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, there's just a lot of problems with people just don't even know how to, you know, to pick their audio and video sources. I'm not saying that was a problem, but for some people, it's, I don't know, it could be an issue. But yeah, it's seamless. For the first 3 guests we had, then we added more, it was a problem. One of the system can't be for 4,000 viewers at once. So yeah, I mean, that shouldn't matter at all because you're sending out the stream key or the stream channel, and then that's just viewing it through there. That you wouldn't think that would be a bandwidth issue. But the one question I did have for you was, because you guys were counting the viewers that were on X, and I wonder if that was that many concurrent viewers or that many people that had viewed the clip at one point or another. That's just one question I had. So I mean, I don't know if that would have would make any difference in the, you know, in the bandwidth issues, but yeah, I don't know how X works, but I knew obviously people do a lot of Twitter Spaces or what have you, and those ones have, I think that's pretty seamless, at least in bringing people in and out of as a guest, but then that's a whole different platform as well too. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, if I'm going to be doing some OBS work here in the near future to try to figure out my own live stream here, and then I'll then if I can figure out anything, I'll let you know. So it was concurrent, yeah, which is pretty cool. One of the people we had on is Sebi Celebrity in the Philippines. So when he joins, gets traction. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. So that, like, that kind of sucks though, in the sense that, you know, you have all that traction and then and you're having like the technical issues, which is just like, I've been there, man. It's like, it's the most frustrating thing. It's not fun for sure. But hopefully you guys get that worked out and get going. You guys had some fun guys on there too. It was just fun listening to you guys. I enjoyed it. Okay, so yeah, no, I hear you. Trying to show we can handle those future streams too. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's tough when you get to that many people. If you ever want to do any kind of testing, I mean, obviously, you know, you have your friends and your people that you're doing stuff with as well too. But if you ever want anybody to help you test, I'm here. So definitely don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm happy to help you out if I can, even just be someone to help you test stuff, which could be done in a little bit more of a safer environment. Okay, so let's get going here. Let's talk about the future, and let's talk about 2025. Like, I'm so pumped, guys. I've been so excited over this past year. Over the past few days anyways, of where things are going to be going with both the podcast and I guess kind of the business, and try to figure out how to bring everything together. And I thought I'd just put a little bit of a presentation here together, just to give you guys, I guess, an update for what's going on. Okay, Unconventional Mindset. That is the new podcast that we're launching, and it's going to be the new podcast. Super pumped about this. Again, this is the biggest thing that I'm going to be focusing on this year. And the launch plan, the way I kind of structured it, this is taking information and but from recommendations from Pat Flynn. I never talked to him personally, but just from his content of helping people launch podcasts, is to start a podcast having 3 episodes ready to go all at once. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to film 3 podcasts and then have them ready to go and just launch on launch day, make it an event, have almost kind of like 3 different types of people that are going to be on the show to give a little bit of a different kind of flavor for what to kind of expect on the show, just to give people a taste of something and something that they can maybe at least even binge watch for the first little bit. So have a launch party, tell everybody that I could possibly know that it's launched and get that initial early traction. So release 3 podcasts all in one day. But before I release that, I would love to have between 4 and 6 that are recorded and ready to go, just to give myself a little bit of a buffer. And we'll talk a little bit about why I kind of want that buffer in a minute here. And I'm scheduling right now to have a launch date between January 27th and February 10th. That's like a 2-week window. And I'm not exactly sure when, because it's going to depend on when the first initial guests get scheduled, this initial 4 to 6. I mean, I would love to, in the next 4 weeks, have all 6 of those podcast episodes booked, recorded, and all that fun stuff. And then get ready for launch. Launch was 3, and then have kind of 3 more to go in between as I go and round up kind of more guests. But as it stands right now, there's 2 people that are confirmed. So I need to get at least 1 more person. And I'm continuing to reach out to people. And I'll talk to you a little bit about my strategy of what I'm doing to reach out to people. But right now, the studio that I have, it's behind me. It is 100% complete. We are like ready to go, ready to rock. So I'm super pumped about that. Brent, how's it going? Great to see you. Happy New Year. Hope things are going to go really well for you in 2025. Wishing you all the best. Why 3 on one day? I would just do 1 and save those for later so you have a buffer to stay consistent. So it's just, that's kind of what my original thought was as well, the same as you. But after listening to Pat Flynn and listening to all of the different videos he's had on how to launch like a successful podcast, he's done lots of kind of stuff and he's coached lots of people and he has his own courses or what have you. And he says having more than 1 ready to go on the initial day, it just gives a little bit of more content for people to get like sink their teeth into and then get kind of not addicted, but really kind of like, oh yeah, this is actually going to be a podcast that I'm going to want to spend some time with. Because one of the things with podcasts is that, you know, it's a time sink, right? Like 1 to 3 hours to listen to like one episode of a podcast. There's only so many podcasts that a person can listen to. So if we can have that one time to showcase what we can do, because I'm going to email all my friends, all my family, here's the podcast, to give them a variety of different topics that they can maybe get interested in and see that, oh, I really want to see what this person has to say. I think it gives me more of a chance to kind of hook people in on my original first launch at marketing and all that kind of stuff. So it's really trying to cast as wide a net as possible and try to hook in as many people to consistently kind of come back week to week for the new podcast episodes. So I took that kind of advice to heart and we're going to see how that goes for that. But in terms of a buffer, I want to have a buffer as well too, which is why I want to record between 4 and 6 here in the month of January and then release 3. And then I'll have a buffer of those of a couple weeks from that as well. So yeah, Happy New Year, man. I hope you had a great holidays with your loved ones. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, I was still working pretty much the whole time, but my mother did come down from Sudbury. So I did take like 3-4 days of not doing any work, which was really strange for me. So that was really good. But yeah, ready to rock it in 2025 for sure. So yeah, so that's why we're going to go with 3 instead of just launching 1. I kind of like the idea and we'll see how it goes. It can't hurt anything, I don't think, other than not having anything to go on the second week, but we're going to have that buffer anyway. So we should be okay. So yeah, in terms of finding guests on the show. So the way that I'm doing it right now is the way that I'm doing it right now is being very, very personal to like crafting very personalized messages to the people that I'm going to ask to be on the show. And the people that I'm asking, at least initially, I already know who they are and have had at least one point of contact to them. So it's not asking a complete stranger to be on the show, at least for my original or my first 3 guests that I want to have on the show. And the reason why I'm doing this is twofold. Number one is that I don't have any episodes or any shows right now to point people towards to say like, hey, here's my show, go check it out, and show them that there's like, you know, episodes and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to do is when I launch the first 3 episodes, then I'll be able to reach out to other people after we launch and then point them into the direction of, here's the episodes, here's what it looks like, here's the clips, here's the, you know, the stats, here's how many people we have downloading all the episodes, all that kind of stuff. But what I have done is I did take a picture of what the studio looks like, and there's a new logo, and here's kind of what the set is going to look like when we're doing just the forward-facing kind of episode. And I sent that to people right now just to showcase them, just so that they know that, hey, you know, this is a professional looking set. And, it's not just going to be some guy in the basement with crappy mics and just, whatever, right? So I want to look really professional. So I sent this picture along to the people that I'm asking to be on the show as well, too. So super pumped about that. Logo, I spent like half an hour on making this logo. Kind of digging it in terms of what I did with the tees. But, whatever. It's nothing too fancy. But anyways, so once the podcast itself goes live, then again, I'm not going to be sending this image to everybody, but then pointing them more into the social media profiles and the shows and all that kind of stuff as well too. So just to give you an idea, in case you're wanting to do something like this yourself, if you're trying to, saying what I'm saying to people to be on the show, here's a sample of some context or some text, word for word of what I did to email some people. And again, these are kind of people I know that I'm probably still going to be using this for people that even I don't know, depending on who it is and kind of what I think they're going to be able to bring to the show. Okay, anyways, so this is what I emailed. I'm starting a podcast called Unconventional Mindset, and I would really love to have you on as one of the first guests of the show, the soon to be #1 podcast in Canada. That's the goal. We'll get there. This is going to be amazing. Guys, I'm super pumped about this. Anyways, the focus of the podcast is going to be talking with business owners, entrepreneurs, and overall interesting people who can teach us about how we can act and think differently in order to be successful, both in business and in life. I am aiming for the show to be very casual and lighthearted, but at the same time, very authentic and real, to create an environment for people to learn and be entertained. That's the goal of the show. That's the kind of show that I want to have. I think you'll be fantastic to have on the show, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with you. Sorry, a little cutout there. So that's part of the email that I sent out to a few of the people here to be on the show, to be one of the first 6 people on the show. So just to give you an idea, again, I can't really tell you who I'm reaching out to, at least right now. So, but I mean, obviously you'll find out eventually once you start going live. Although the first few people, I'm pretty sure they're not going to know. They're not, I'm not emailing our prime minister or anything like that. Which is another story of Canadian politics that happened today. Holy geez. Anyways. Right. So yeah, they're not crazy celebrities, but still really cool people. Anyways. Okay. So we're all about growth. This podcast, I want to grow it. Again, I did the whole thing was it just last week anyways, saying, I want to have 100,000 videos per episode and so many downloads or whatever. I want to really grow this podcast. So it all has to be about action. I need to do actions. I need to get out of my comfort zone. So that's basically producing quality content and posting as much as I can on all the different social media platforms. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. I don't like those. I hate those channels, but that's where people are. That's what I'm going to need to do to get out there, put myself out there, and spread the message, spread the word, build a brand, really build hype for the podcast. And of course, that always starts with creating engaging content, of course, with the guests and all that kind of stuff, and then just growing from there. So that's what the year is really going to be focused on: getting great guests, learning how to do a really good podcast, and going out of my comfort zone to do all the marketing and promotion that goes with it. So that's going to be really cool. But now, of course, that brings us to Pixel, which is our main company. I mean, that's the only corporation they have right now is Pixel Media Corporation, and that's where everything is kind of done under that umbrella. But I've been thinking about that because, of course, I have my clients right now that are helping me pay the bills, keeping me afloat over the past couple of years, allowing me to figure out what it is that I want to do long term. And what I've been thinking about over the past quite a little while is, like, if you know me, I'm really adverse at the idea of taking on loans or taking on debt in order to finance a company. I've always been wanting to bootstrap things, but I've really been thinking lately that if I'm very smart about this, if I'm very strategic, what could I do with getting a loan? And could I use it very smartly? Can I use it in a way that's very smart and very deliberate to fuel growth, and then to be able to just accelerate the rate at which I can grow, to be able to take that amount of money and grow 5 times faster, 10 times faster, whatever it is, pay it back, and then be left on a much better place, 2 years from now, right? So it's almost thinking of borrowing from my future self in order to fund specific growth. So we have something here in Canada called the Business Development Bank of Canada, the BDC, and they help Canadians and Canadian entrepreneurs with business financing. They do a bunch of other things as well too in order to help Canadians with business, because at the end of the day, whatever you think of the Canadian government, they still, like most governments anyways, they want their citizens to create business and create jobs and help the local economy, right? So there's resources that are put in place, and one of those resources is this Business Development Bank of Canada. I don't know exactly how they get all their funding or whatever, and how much of it is comes from federal or provincial funding, but it's there for entrepreneurs to help us, and they do provide loans as well. And the loan that I've been looking at is a specific loan that is up to $250,000 for business. I don't know exactly how it structures or whatever, but I've been thinking about this, and if it makes sense, because over the next couple weeks I'm going to be investigating what it would actually look like and if it makes sense for me. But if it does, I'm fairly confident that I'm going to go ahead and go forward with getting this loan. And what does that mean for Pixel as a company? For me, what I think it means then is that we're going to shift a little bit and pivot the company from just strictly we just build websites to being really a media company. And what we would do is, I kind of wrote down here, we'll work with other businesses to help them create digital content and digital products to use that to help fuel their business, right? So what that means is, in terms of the services, so basically what I would want to do with this loan, one of the primary things would be, number one, to be able to get a dedicated space. So it would have like a commercial space where there's a Pixel studio or whatever the case may be. And in that studio, we'll be able to have our clients come in and we can create podcasts for them. We can create social media content. We can create videos. We can create online courses or just courses, just educational courses, whatever people want to create. This is a space where we can have for them to be able to do that. And I did have a meeting before the end of the year with some people at the university. And video courses, even just within the educational space in the academia, is a very lucrative thing where they have a lot of courses that are being produced. So there is money that's available there, and there is a demand for that kind of stuff. And that's just in one specific kind of niche as well too. So to have a studio to be able to do that, but then also to have it as a place where people can do self-directed content. So if you wanted to create YouTube videos or you wanted to create your own course or whatever, but you might not have the money to be able to pay, whatever it would cost if WePixel would work with you to do that, then you could just come in, rent a studio for $100 an hour, whatever the case may be, and then go ahead and kind of do your thing. So that would be really, really cool. And then of course, to also do websites and still do websites, but to kick it up a notch, to really talk about doing website management. So not only just building a website, but also managing it. Because again, I've been in the web space for many, many years, 2 decades now. And the most consistent thing that I see is you build a website for a client and in 2-3 years, it ends up going down the drain because they don't know how to maintain it and to manage it because they just don't have that bandwidth or whatever. So the types of clients that I'm going to want to work with are the ones that, number one, they have a budget to be able to pay for somebody to kind of not only create a website, but manage it for them, but have the foresight and the, what's the word I'm looking for? That they just have that, they just know how important it is to have a really good, strong web presence, and that the companies are big enough that they have the budget to be able to pay someone or an agency or whatever to help manage it for them, to take them as high as they possibly can with their social media, with their website, all that kind of stuff, just to maintain it, to make sure that it's always optimal, all that kind of stuff. So not looking for small clients. I'm done with the days of trying to find, $2,000, $3,000 clients of making one website and it's done. Now I'm looking more for the bigger companies, that are doing 6-7 figures in revenue, that, or maybe even more than that, that are wanting to have somebody that can come on their team and really help them advance their goals, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at for this. So I think, do I have any other? That's it. That's kind of all I have in terms of thinking about how I would use that kind of business loan to help build out Pixel and the whole company. And really, what that does for me, anyways, is it'll really help me fuel the growth of the podcast and the growth of the whole business as a whole, as like this media company, right? Where the Unconventional Mindset is kind of like a part of that overarching business, which is a media company, which will help people. Like, hopefully the idea is that I can grow Unconventional Mindset, I can grow the podcast, understand what it takes to develop that good content, all that kind of stuff, and to grow a brand and to grow a podcast and to grow social media channels, and then be able to use the knowledge that I've gained from that to turn that into a service that I can offer that to other clients as well too. And then we can create this basically this media company, right, under that umbrella. So it's kind of tying everything together, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm really excited about it because it's something that I really love to do. Like I was saying, is just building websites is just like it's okay. And I want to do something more than that. And talking to people, interacting with people, doing these live streams, doing podcasting is super fun. And being able to help others do the same thing, I think is going to be really amazing. In terms of timelines, I have no idea how long this is going to take. I think it's going to take a while. So it's I would imagine it would take the whole process. I would imagine would be like at least 6 months. But what we're going to do is every step of the way of this application process, if I decide to move forward, I'm going to let you guys know what's going on. And if we're going to go forward with this, the whole process is going to be like transparent, and we'll just like do everything that I can like on the stream or let you guys know what's going on, just so that you guys can see the process. And if you're ever thinking yourself of applying for any kind of loans, then, you know, you could use this maybe as a reference point or whatever. Like, how do we do the business plan? How's the projections going to work? All that kind of stuff. So it's going to be really interesting and something, obviously I'm going to learn a lot from it because I've never done this before. So yeah. And hopefully maybe you're watching this 2 years into the future, and hopefully things have gone well, that our podcast is super successful. The media company has gone really well, and we can show what the benefits are of getting a loan. And then maybe you're here now watching this and saying like, yeah, okay, I would love to follow in these footsteps. I have a plan of how I want to be very strategic in how I would use this money to help fuel growth, right? Don't get a loan. Like for me, I don't want to get this loan just so I can buy an office space and just get a bunch of cool gear and that's it, and just do the same thing. Like, that's stupid. That's not going to help, right? I need to have a plan in place to figure out how I'm going to grow, right? So like, if you know that marketing, if you know you're spending $100 a month and it's like you're getting results, you're like, but geez, I just don't have, what, you know, if I had $1,000, maybe I could do that much better. That's kind of what that loan is for, right? It's like, okay, well then you get that loan because you know you're going to grow with it, and then you're going to be able to pay it back. Because at the end of the day, it's not free money. You got to pay it back, right? Like, it's a loan. It's not, it's not angel investment, right? Angel investment, that's a completely different, that's a whole nother, the whole nother can of worms with that as well too. So we're not looking at that. But yeah, should we? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't want to spend would it be nice? I guess it would be nice, but then you're kind of beholden to the investors, and they're kind of waiting to get their money back and all that kind of stuff. So you might be forced to worry more about monetary stuff as opposed to crafting the best possible product and service. So I don't think that really makes too much sense for me. So anyways, that's where we are. So I'm super pumped. I think 2025 is going to be amazing. I think the podcast is going to do well. I'm excited to start recording these episodes, and then I'm excited to see where things can go with Pixel. I'm just imagining what it would be like if we do get this influx of cash and feel like running like a legit business, and, you know, thinking about, you know, do you need to bring somebody on or just hire other people to help with the editing process or with web design. So I don't know, really, really looking forward to it. and super excited. And just thinking like a $250,000, like that's a lot of money. Like what, like if you're running a business, I'd love to hear if you want to comment and just let me know. Like if you had $250,000, how do you think that would help you grow your business? Do what the other investors are doing. Take out a loan and buy Bitcoin. You'll thank me. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin just shot up to, I don't have much Bitcoin. I don't know how much I have, like 0.00. I don't know. It's only like $1,500 worth of Bitcoin. But yeah, it shot up to what is over $100,000 per coin now. And I think it's going to go to what, $1 million? It's going to be insane. Who knows what the limit is for Bitcoin? But yeah, up to $100,000 a coin, like US. That's crazy. And it just shot up again too. I saw today it shot up like $5,000 or $6,000. It's crazy. Yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the only two coins that I would buy personally. But if you don't have any money and you go into debt just to buy Bitcoin, that's pretty risky. I don't know if I'd recommend that to anybody to do, especially if it's a life savings or whatever. That's pretty risky. But if you have extra money to invest, and it's not going to kill you if it goes bust, then, then have at it. Bitcoin seems to be a pretty good spot. And I wish I had extra money to put in some Bitcoin right now, or 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. But investing, I think once Pixel starts rolling in a lot of money, I think we'll kind of shift into thinking about investing and how we could use our money to grow and to, make more money as well too. That's another fascinating aspect of business. And, I don't know, not that many people get to that point where they have so much money and capital. It's like, what do we do with this capital? How can we grow the business? So those are going to be some interesting conversations as well. So I'm looking forward to that, but let's first figure out how we could create our sustainable business, and then we can figure out how to grow. So, lots of different steps. So really looking forward to seeing how that transpires. Man, God, got me thinking about Bitcoin. Yeah. During that, I think for me, I started buying it back in it was just during the pandemic. So maybe probably 2020. That's when I first started buying, some stuff. And then I had it in Celsius, and then they went bust. So I lost it all. And then I only got a little bit of it back finally after, after the whole bankruptcy stuff. So that was, a big lesson learned there, of where to store and keep your crypto. Oh, that was interesting. I think I had some money in the other one that went bankrupt as well too. But I pulled it out there before that went bankrupt. What was that company? BlockFi, I think was the other one. Leo, how's it going? Welcome. Happy New Year. All the best to you in 2025. How's the programming going? Hopefully everything's going well. Still plugging away. All right. Anyways, I do have I went over everything that I wanted to go over today. So thank you guys for listening to my feel a little weird. It's like giving like presentations, but I'd love to get your thoughts on what you think of this logo. I mean, I'm not going to do much to it because I kind of like it how it is, but I just love to get your thoughts on what you guys think of it. So this is the logo here for the podcast, Unconventional Mindset. Nothing really to it. I can give you a little bit of design things of what I was thinking about when I made this. Again, number one, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it because it's not a make or break thing. And eventually I'll hire a professional who's an actual logo designer to help me figure out what makes the most sense. But I decided to make everything not capitalized just because it's kind of about stepping outside of the box and stepping outside of what people do traditionally. Capitalized things. So I made it uncapitalized. And as well, I wanted to put the dot in here to just almost be like, full stop. And, we're doing this and that's it. No one's going to tell you otherwise. So it's like almost like a hard punctuation. And then the T's, of course, are just one of the T's side is cut off just to, I mean, for me, it's a little bit of pointing in the forward direction onto, from left to right. And just showcasing again, just being a little bit different, a little bit unconventional. We're going to be different. We're going to stand out a little bit, and, make ourselves known and seen that way. So that's kind of the mindset that I had when I was designing this. Again, this is what I did in 30 minutes, right? So not a lot of time spent on this. So, pretty simple. But that's, that is what it is. And then it looks kind of nice when it's on the TV there in the back. Leo, programming is going well. That's good. It's good to hear. That logo looks like something from another company. Which other company? Like it looks like it's copied from something else? Or you're just saying that it looks different from what, Pixel and what this, this live stream and kind of what it represents. Oh, geez. Smack the mic. It gives me building a second brain vibes. I don't know what that means. Is building a second brain, is that like some like actual, like is that a thing? I'm just going to type it in to Google here. Oh, it's a book. Huh, I never even heard of this. So this thing, building a second brain. The font looks very similar. I mean, it's a pretty common font. Oh, the font does look very similar. I wonder if it's the same font. It could very well be the same font. That looks similar. Looks very similar, especially the G's. And the A's as well. Although the A is a different A, I'm using there's a different, different styles. So Leo, you're saying, I think I saw it somewhere else. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny too. This is the whole thing about creativity and design, especially, is, it's not like I've seen everything that's out there in this in the world. So it's like it could be very common that you take a font that's a popular font and you put a word to it or whatever, and you're like, okay, here's kind of a logo. It's like, oh, that's actually similar to something else that's been done. It's like, yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it at all. So yeah, but I haven't heard anything crazy in terms of you guys just saying, oh, it's the most hideous thing ever and it's horrible, and because of it, you're going to fail, and the podcast is going to be the worst thing in the world. Oh, you mean like the dot? Yeah, so you saw somebody doing something like that? Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen it in other things that use it as a punctuation, and they use it in like the animation of a logo, and it goes from place to place and from thing to thing. So yeah, I could see that, but I'm also trying to think of how we could tie it into Pixel with the double eyes, and then of course having the dot can flow from there to the top of the eyes, and playing around with different colors, and the different parts of like the company could be signified in like the different logos for the different parts. So like a podcast could be green or talking about money, or then if there's another part which could be like a social media marketing aspect of the company, maybe that's like blue. I don't know. There's options, there's ideas. But again, I'm definitely not a logo guy. So I did the best I could in the half hour that I had with it, and we'll see what happens. And then once we get to the point where we're bigger and we think that we might want to do any kind of legit rebranding or whatever, then bring on the professionals. But I wouldn't worry about that at anytime soon at all, because I think I don't think it's too critical. I think it's cool for like the big brands, like you have your Nikes and, like your fashion brands to have a really strong logo mark and all that kind of stuff. But when you're talking about like a podcast or whatever, I feel like that it's more the brand of the actual person than the look of the logo. Do you know what I mean? So like when you're scrolling through social media, you don't see the logo, you see the person, right? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna click on that. I know what that guy's like. Oh, there's an Alex Hormozi video. I see him, and yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that, as opposed to, oh, here's this logo, and and that therefore it's good, right? A good podcast. Like, no, I don't really think it's that critical. Is it important? Of course, it's super important. I think logos are very, very important. But when you're just starting out, nobody knows you. It's get something that's decent, at least doesn't look like crap, people can read. then you're good to go. And have it legible at different sizes as well too, like different font sizes and what have you. So yeah. All right. So that's it for me, I think, for today. Unless there's any questions, thank you guys so much for tuning in. So again, just to recap, we're going to be launching the podcast in the last week of January or the first week-ish of February. Super excited about that. We're in the process of booking our first 4 to 6 guests to be on the show and to record those in the coming 3 to 4 weeks. And we're really thinking about getting a $250,000 small business loan. I'm already in talks with an accountant to help me out with that process. And if we go forward, I think we have a very, very, very high chance of actually getting the loan. It's really just a matter of deciding if we're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm just waiting on the details of what it's going to take to get all that stuff done. So we should hopefully know by the end of the week, and so by next Monday, to let you guys know whether we're moving forward to or not. And then we could proceed to actually put forth all the materials, writing the proposals or whatever it's going to take to actually go ahead and get this loan application together, and then to submit it, and then get that cash, and then grow the business as fast as we possibly can, which is going to be super, super exciting. All right. So unless there's any comments that come in here in the next little bit, I'm going to sign off. So as always, thank you guys so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. If you want to hit that like button on the way out, that would be amazing. I would certainly appreciate that for 2025. All the best to you guys in 2025. Like, honestly, I'm really hoping for the best for everybody. We can get together, whether it's on this podcast or wherever the case may be, connect with like-minded people, cheer each other on. Let's do this thing together. Let's all be successful. There's plenty of space for us all to get that $1 million company and use that money to just, build the life that we want, right? Because that's, I think at the end of the day, that's all. I mean, we want to live a good life. We want to provide for our families. We want to be able to do the things that we want to do when we want to do them and provide value out there into the world. So wishing you guys all the best for 2025. Have a great year. And of course, we're going to be back here on Monday with a brand new live stream. And we're going to stick with the schedule for every Monday for now, and to probably, well, again, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks here with the loan and all that kind of stuff. So we might have to do more episodes to keep you guys apprised of that. But for now, at least we'll be back here next Monday. Come back soon. Hopefully come back. Yeah, we will come back soon. Once the podcast goes live, we're going to be at least 2 things being posted every single week. But yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys here next Monday. So have a great rest of your week. Kevin, Leo, Brent, always great to have you guys in the chat. Much appreciated. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.